What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Halftime Snacks podcast. This show features short interviews that you can listen during the halftime of your favorite sports events. Every Tuesday, I host fun conversations with talented people in the sports industry, where we'll learn from their stories, knowledge, and experiences. So go grab your favorite snack and come snack with us. Are you ready? Let's go! Joining us now is an entrepreneur and venture investor who is passionate about the business and technology of sports, and he's a true expert in digital growth and angel investing. He has provided consultancy in sponsorships, rights, digital marketing, technology, law, and much more to high-quality brands in sports such as IMG, ESPN, Fox Sports, Top Golf, and so many more. This guy has the longest LinkedIn page have ever seen, but that is amazing. But particularly, he is the managing partner at Happy Marketer, a company which he built, co-founded, built, and sold later. And we're going to talk about that because it's a leading digital marketing consulting firm in the region. And I can't wait to talk with him. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Prantik Mazumdar. Prantik, welcome to the Halftime Snacks. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ronan. Loving the energy. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to have you here. Let's kick it off with a fun icebreaker. The one I have for you is, what is the best sandwich that you ever had?
It's actually an Indian sandwich, which is, we usually eat something called roti, chapati, and we make a roll out of it. So it's called a paneer roll, which is basically a flat bread, which is rolled, and inside you have some cottage cheese. That's probably the best sandwich I've had.
I love that, man. You can describe it perfectly. So I love the detail, the attention to detail, and man, as I mentioned during the introduction, you have so many experiences. You have partaken your time in a lot of ventures, a lot of projects. But I'm very curious, like, what is about sports that is special for you? Like, what is it about it that makes you passionate about it, or in what ways has it shaped your mindset for life? Like, how exactly do you find yourself attached to sports?
Sports is a game changer, and I'll tell you my answer in two perspectives. One in terms of playing sport, the other in terms of watching. So, I've just like probably most Indians you may have met, cricket is in our blood, right? I love cricket. But again, it doesn't matter whether it's football, baseball, table tennis, swimming. What playing sport teaches you, especially team sport, is humility. How do you bond with teams? How do you live through failure, and how do you come out of it? I think there are so many life skills that sports teaches you, and I think it's a wonderful sort of platform for any young person to sort of play sport, just to get a preview and taste of life. And it's a nice preview, nice way to sort of go through it and learn life skills and build relationships. So that's playing sport. The other is watching sport. In today's world, there is no dearth of entertainment. You open Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube. There's tons of content, but there is still a magic of watching live sports. I just returned from Birmingham last month, watching a fabulous Test cricket, which, by the way, for a lot of people in North America might be surprising that a game that is played over 5 days can be exciting. But it's a 5 day match played in England, between India and England. I can't tell you the ebbs and flows and the moments. There are dull moments, but there are so many exciting moments. And I think watching live sports gives you a kick and thrill that no Netflix show or movie can ever give you, because the uncertainty element, you just don't know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of life.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I think we're going to talk a little bit more about sports, and how you've been, being an investor and being, a consultant in that industry. But something that stands out, of course, in your resume and in your background is happy marketer. So I guess that it really is worth it to ask you about some lessons that you had regarding building, developing, and selling happy marketer from an entrepreneurial perspective, right? What is something that you've learned from that?
Good question. Lots of things, and I'll maybe touch upon a couple. So Happy Marketer is a services business, so we didn't raise any money. We just built it bootstrap. Rachit, the original founder, myself, we were university batchmates, classmates, friends, and we built it when the markets were down. So today, public markets are going through a bad downturn. The last big downturn in 2008, 2009, that's when Happy Marketer was born. And we sort of grew it organically without a single dollar of funding. So the two, three lessons that we sort of learned. Number one is the best form of raising capital or funding is customer money. You can take loans, you can take money from family. Today it's very fashionable to raise money from venture capital or private equity. That's fine, those are all great ways, but nothing feels greater than customers using your product or services and opening their wallets and paying you regularly. So I still maintain that having good cash flow coming from customers is priceless. Number two is the value of partnerships, especially partners who are sort of who have common values, but they bring in adjacent skill sets. So our business grew on the back of partners like Google, Salesforce, HubSpot, and I can't tell you how important that was, because as the saying goes, you can see further on the shoulder of giants. And so when we have this partnership with Google, their credibility, their network, their products, their tools, if you can make that work, I think it can be a game changer. That's lesson number two. Last lesson, which is my favorite topic, is culture, which also matters a lot in the world of sports and team sports. Is how do you ensure that you have a culture which is by definition something very fuzzy, which attracts people, retains people, gives them a chance to freely experiment, learn, and grow, and eventually move on to something bigger. We call our people the Happy Tribe, and it is something that I'm absolutely proud of. In fact, just last Friday, our company won 10 out of 10 awards in Singapore. There's an agency awards called Marketing Agency of the Year. We won all 10, and we were chosen as the overall agency of the year. And I can tell you, it's not just the work and the dollars, it's the culture, the people who have devoted 7, 8, 10 years of their lives to make this happen, because that brings in loyalty, pride, and good quality. So those are three lessons over my 12 years of running Happy Marketer.
That's super interesting, and I think it's not so like there's so many good reasons to explain why you guys won all the awards and why you are one of the best marketers and digital marketers out there in the world. Do you think that there was some kind of like timing or luck that you guys had at the beginning, where specific trends were getting together and you saw like this massive amount of opportunity, and then that's like kind of like it helped you to build a Happy Marketer? Do you like regard a little bit of like the success that this company has had to timing and luck for when you guys were building it?
Absolutely. A lot of luck, a lot of good timing. I mean, you see, a lot of life is, it sounds philosophical, but a lot of life is luck. You and I are doing this because, we've had good education, we have technology, internet, and maybe, half the world doesn't. And so luck is always there, right? Timing as well. Like I said, we were building just after the crisis, and that's a good time to start. You can get good talent at, decent sort of price points, as well as crisis is also a time where you have time to think and build. You're not rushing, there's not too much exuberance and rush. So timing matters a lot. Also, in the Singapore market or Southeast Asia, digital was just picking up. This was the time that Google's and Facebook were just setting up their Asia headquarters in Singapore. People were just beginning to get onto Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So the timing was absolutely important. Had I started today, I think I would have been a bit too late to the party. So timing matters significantly, and luck, I think, on a daily basis. In terms of finding good clients or people, early clients who supported us, gave us a chance because we were two young kids who sort of started a business. Absolutely. All I would say is timing, luck will always matter as leaders, entrepreneurs, whether it's business or sport. You need to be able to spot those trends. You need to be able to spot people. You need to be able to connect the dots. I think that is something which can be learned, which may be natural, which can be learned. But I think that's a huge skill that any sort of leader, whether you're a founder, entrepreneur, or a corporate leader, or a sports team leader, that's something that comes in very handy.
Yeah, I love that. And after like you really became some very relevant investor in many startups and companies out there. And now that you're talking about like connecting the dots, I'm wondering like what would be a more important dot to connect? Is it like more of like the founder, or you're like more drawn to the idea, or like why would you make a difference between those two? Like what is the priority for you?
To me, the priority is, when I look at these early stage companies, I think first and foremost, I look at the problem. What is the problem that he or she is trying to solve? Is it clearly defined, and how large is the market size around the problem? Is the timing the right one? Because very often, what I found is you can have, you know, uh, above average founders in a great opportunity, in a great market. I think they'll do well. But there are many cases of great founders, but timing, opportunity, problem is not the right one. I don't think they'll succeed. So I would start with the problem, the market, the size of the market, the timing, and then I go to the founder. And what I look for is, a lot of investors talk about product market fit, but for me, because I invest early, I look at what I call the founder problem fit. You could be a great founder, but are you the right founder, or is yours the right founding team for this problem in this market? So I try and sort of evaluate. I have not found a scientific answer, but maybe when I speak with you, meet with you, I will try and judge over 3 4 meetings, that is there a good founder problem sort of fit. And one sort of determinant I've found is two things: are you able to describe the problem in simple English, or simple Mexican, or simple Hindi, in simple language, to your mother, grandmother, in simple language, without jargon? If you can, I think that's a win. The other is, how passionate are you about the problem, but how flexible are you about the answer? I love founders who are passionate about the problem, crystal clear, but they are flexible in the approach. Because if you're too rigid about your approach, I'm not sure you'll be very resilient, because your approach could be good, but maybe timing is wrong, maybe there's not enough money, or maybe there's a better answer. But if you're not open-minded to try and experiment, you might miss out. So I go in that particular order: problem, market size, founder problem fit, and also the sort of flexibility to finding different answers.
Yeah, so I'm maybe very curious about how what is your primarily like mental model for detecting problems, which is the most important thing, because like I'm guessing that maybe you are an expert on like digital marketing and some other specific like topics, but maybe there's a lot of like problems that you don't really know or don't really understand. So what is exactly like what is your mental model or your thought process to identifying pain points or problems that are out there? So is it like they come to you with a pain point and then you analyze it, you internalize it, or you basically go out there and look for pain points and then see who's trying to solve the pain point? Like how is it that you approach finding the best problems to invest in, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. I would start with sort of building on my strengths or my experiences, right? So, for example, if you said, Prantik, there's a biosciences or a biotech opportunity, I would be very honest and say, look, I don't even know that I've heard that term, but you asked me to have a conversation more than 5 minutes. I can't. I don't understand it. But on the flip side, if you would say, Prantik, there is a B2B enterprise software startup pitch, or there is a sports tech software pitch, or there is a maybe impact investment or a sustainability pitch. I'm curious, I'm interested, simply because either I think I know, or I'm curious and I'm interested, right? So it's, if you think of a Venn diagram, there are things that one thinks you know enough, or there are things that you think I know, okay, but I'm curious to learn more. So that's one filter. The other is also the market, right? For example, in Southeast Asia, right now, if I look at the overall market, bulk of the investments are going into fintech, insurtech, a little bit of sports tech, e-commerce, social commerce. So I want the problem to be relevant today, or maybe today plus 3 4 years. If it's too late or too futuristic, it may not make sense. So that's the other lens I would apply, not just what interests me and what I'm good at, but also what the market needs. Like I said, to me, the market matters the most. That's the primary filter, right? So those are two things I would look at. And the other sort of parameter that I try and sort of filter opportunities by is, region. I mean, there could be something fabulous in Africa, but I've never sort of, barring one holiday to Zanzibar, I've not, spent time in Africa, and Africa is so huge, and I don't want to make general assumptions. But if you tell me Southeast Asia, India, maybe Australia to some extent, I'm excited. Even US, because again, US is such a large market. We've all followed the market. It's fairly global. But outside of that, that's another filter, geography. And the last filter is in terms of B2C versus B2B. I have used various B2C tools and software as a consumer, but as an entrepreneur, Happy Marketer is B2B. We service other businesses. So I have a bit more better understanding and appreciation for B2B. So, in summary, are the trends supporting the broader markets where I'm interested in? Are the industries where I have some knowledge, exposure, and network? And, is this something that I sort of, and then I would go to the founders. Is the founding team right for this, right? So those are three or four broad filters of geography, industry, interest, curiosity, network that I would apply before making a judgment. It could all turn out to be wrong, but attempt is to filter and manage the risk as much as possible.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it, and I think that it's a very robust framework and mental model to understand and see where you can really add value. It has to do a lot, I think, with self awareness, knowing where you can add value really, and being able to provide. And I think that going back to sports, as one of your passions, what is one of the things that you currently really admire for your life and to watch, and the entertainment, the uncertainty. I think that talks a lot about like why you really got into sports. So I wonder if you maybe can share the story on how exactly you started working with RevSportz as a strategic advisor, which is a sports technology venture that focuses on content and NFTs, and they have like different solutions. So maybe talk a little bit about how that happened, because I'm very curious. It talks a lot about like your involvement in sports tech. So share that a little bit of that, more of that with us.
Certainly, so sports, like I said, has been a massive, pleasure point as well as passion point for me. From a playing perspective, I still play cricket over weekends, tennis, all of that. I also have managed teams and have captain teams. So there's a basic interest and passion. The other is, as I started looking at the business of sport, I realized fundamentally, historically, there are four ways that any sport in the world makes money, right? There is sponsorship, broadcasting, gate revenues, merchandise, broadly speaking, right? And I've tracked various sports, whether it's NFL, MLB, F1, cricket, obviously, soccer. And what's interested me is I started telling myself that how can I marry my two passions, technology and sports, and what are some trends that I'm sort of seeing. Again, very generically, the few trends that I'm seeing is sports and technology, where they intersect. Technology has helped sports in a few ways, right? Digital broadcasting. Today we watch sports, on OTT apps, on online. Television is sort of gradually fading away because I can watch personalized sports, tennis, cricket on the app that I have, right? So broadcasting is one, which means suddenly the potential reach of any sport is massive, because everyone has some sort of a mobile device as long as you have internet, right? The other is commerce, your merchandising, your ticketing, that's all become online. The third is, I mean, and within that I will put it as NFTs. The third is, in terms of using technology for sports analytics. Everyone on this show, I'm sure, has heard or watched Moneyball. But today you see the Moneyball approach has sort of taken various sports by storm, right from the grassroots level to the top level. You have 200,000 data points from a tennis match, from a cricket match, from a soccer match. You're using it to scout talent. You're using it to make decision review systems. You're using technology to make a lot of choices. I'm reading a wonderful book in the world of cricket called Hitting Against the Spin, written by the data analysts from the English team, as to how do they plan ahead for the next World Cup cycle to decide what three parameters should they optimize for if they want to win the World Cup. So it's no more gut feeling. Yes, you make decisions by gut, but you inform the gut with the data, right? So given this sort of background of passion and my trend spotting, this was always in my head. What happened last year was I got connected with three gentlemen. One is a very famous sports journalist and academician from India called Boria Majumdar, who's one of the top journalists and sports content creators in India across sports. In fact, he's right now in UK covering the Commonwealth sports, which is athletics primarily. And he and a couple of others, we said, look, we've got to change the game when it comes to sports tech in Asia. We got talking. We were watching a match. We got talking. We said, what are the three things we can do? Step one, content is his baby because he's a journalist. He's a broadcaster. So he said, we will sort of cover all kinds of sports across Asia Pacific through video. So anything outside of the live broadcasting rights, for which we don't have the rights or the money, but pre-match, during halftime snacks, post-match, we will do coverages, and not just the match, but the trainer, the physio, the wives and the girlfriends, the education, or 360-degree about sports, right? The second is education. Growing up, I realized that I had a desire to, if you had asked me when I was 7, what do I want to become? I would have said a cricketer. But by 15, I realized I wasn't good enough, and my family had moved to Indonesia, a non-cricketing, cricket-playing nation. But I realized I had no idea that there are so many professions around sports, sports medicine, sports nutrition, sports psychology. So we said we want to create the second pillar in sports education through edtech, right, through technology, so that people who want to create a career in sports, at least they know that there are 20 parts available, and at least they get educated. And the third is commerce and community. One of the beauties of sports is whatever sports you play, professional or amateur, it helps you create relationships, bonds, and communities. So we said, can we use NFTs as a trend to help connect the sporting athletes to the fans? They can market and sell the NFTs, they can make the money, but hopefully we can create a community around it so that the fan can directly interact and connect with the sporting athletes. And whilst I think I love the idea simply because the top 10% of sports people through Twitter, Instagram, brands, they have a lot of sponsorships. I don't think they would need our services. It's the next 90% who are not there yet, who are tier 2, tier 3. They don't get those big $1 million sponsorship contracts. But if we can help give them a way, a direct channel to connect with fans and also to sell their merchandise, their jerseys, their gloves, their shoes, physical or NFTs, it creates commerce and community. So those were the 4 buckets that led to the creation of RevSportz. Currently, we are doubling down on content. By the year end, we would sort of raise funds to focus on the next 2 verticals. So sports and technology, close to my heart. So I said, why not?
No, wow, I'm amazed by the clarity of thought and your ability to communicate those things very straightforward, and I love it. I understood it. I understood it very well, and I'm sure the listeners did as well. And I see it seems like you're really good at spotting trends and being able to define what's coming up. So suppose, and maybe for those listening that are wondering, oh, is Prantik, could Prantik really become an investor on my idea or on my technology? Which tech trends are you mostly excited around right now, or that you potentially see the most benefit moving forward in terms of growth? What would be some of the trends or technological, sectors within like sports you think you see the most potential growth, regardless of timing, of course, because we know there's a couple of things that are going on right now that might be hyped up or something. But what do you think is like the most timeless area in sector in sports to have the most potential growth in the next coming years?
Great question. Yeah, so keeping timing and markets aside, the 2 or 3 tech trends in the world of sports, the one I spoke about, I really think in the world of sports data analytics, we have just scratched the surface. I think we will see huge amount of investments coming in when it comes to leveraging tech analytics to from a predictive capability in terms of, and again, one use case could be betting, but the other use case from a business of sports is which sports do I invest in, which athletes is likely to win a gold medal, where do I double down, like for example, if a country is sort of planning that I want to win 100 Olympic medals in Paris 2024. I think technology in a decade's time will be able to literally zoom in and tell you, forget swimming, let's tackle track and field, or let's double in on weightlifting based on various parameters. So I think predictive analytics in the world of sport is one big one. The other is blockchain. I think there's a lot of noise around crypto, etc. But I think that the underlying technology of blockchain is, I think, very, very exciting, because I think, again, you could have use cases in NFTs. You could have use cases in terms of just capturing sporting moments on the blockchain. I think that, also use the blockchain to sort of create interactions and engagement between fans and sporting stars. I think even the element of fan engagement. And today, I think I can comment on Twitter, I can like, etc. But I think I think there's a premium to be made if I have access to my sporting hero on. I mean, in the ideal world, if I love a sporting star, I want to be able to talk to him and her all the time. Now, of course, theoretically that's not possible, but maybe there's a hologram solution, maybe there is a metaverse solution where I'm able to interact with an avatar of my sports star, because I think if it's possible, there is a premium to be made. Now, some of this may sound futuristic, but I'm fairly sure someone somewhere is dreaming and building that. So blockchain, predictive analytics, and the whole element of sports fan engagement on the metaverse through holograms, I think would be interesting.
Well, there you go. There you guys have it. If any of you have technology or a project that you guys are building in those two areas, make sure you reach out to Prantik, because I can assure you guys he's going to be very interested. Prantik, man, this has been awesome. We've been learning so much about you, your background, your role in the world of investing, and in the world of building and scaling businesses, and also in the world of sports and technology and trends. Man, you're so well rounded and have so many good ideas, and you're a clear thinker. So I admire you for that. But as a personal question and last closing question, I want to know who is someone you admire, and or someone you look up to, and why you choose that person.
I'll give you two answers. One in the field of business. I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. I don't think that's a surprise. A lot of people look up to him. I just think his ability to sort of dream big, and be able to multitask across five distinctly different ideas. I think it always excites me, and it's not just the science. He makes businesses out of that. Clearly, he gets into a lot of controversies, but that's part of the personality. I just think his ability to think big, connect the dots, and build businesses excites me. The other is my childhood sporting hero. He's one of the best cricketers that's come from India, called Sachin Tendulkar. I just think it's about two things: someone who's had natural talent, but he's a cricketer who's played for 24 years, and normally in cricket, after 10, 12 years, you typically retire. But to have that longevity, it's the sheer determination and practice. That's one. On the field, the element of practice, I think, is, no matter how talented you are, I think practice can any day overshadow talent. So that's something. And the other is humility. The humility that comes through, despite him being a mega star, is unbelievable. And I think I really admire people who, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how great you are, if you're not approachable, if you can't have a basic human conversation, I think it defeats the point. So yeah, there you go. Elon Musk and Sachin Tendulkar.
Thank you very much for tuning in to the last Halftime Snacks episode. I'm excited to announce that I'll be joining Front Office Sports next week. So if you want to keep up with me and my content, make sure you bookmark their website, which I will link on the show notes.